Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Canyon. Welcome back to another installment of what has to be Wheelin Wednesday, as this is being uploaded on a Wednesday, and it is intended for consumption on a Wednesday. So there's a lot going on. It's more of a Ranting Wednesday than a Wheelin Wednesday, but it's pretty much only the hardcore devotees of the Canyon that tune into Wheelin Wednesdays. So it's going to be a little bit of time of me sitting on my beloved bucket chair under a wonderfully overcast sky and, as they say, preaching to the choir. Lord Penteby, first of his name, is out on his new wheel and tire setup. He has not been wheeled in this configuration. We're testing it out, and while we're testing it out, we're gonna come correct with that with the previously promised rant, which is a theme, something thematic. I have begun to take note of a theme that is forming. In the comments, we of course refer here to the comments where this began, I think, and I cannot say in earnest, but this began in its entirety when I had the gross misfortune of a red cat ascent landing on the bench. And I went through the process and the processes of the red cat ascent. And it is not entirely negative, our experience with the red cat ascent. If not for the red cat ascent, we would never have gotten the Rattler, formerly the entity formerly known as Rattlecat, as we slowly and gradually purged all of the red cat from the system in an effort to make a vehicle that is actually competent. Speaking of vehicles that are actually competent, before you sits Lord Penteby, first of his name, which is an Enduro SE with the wheelbase adjusted to fit a cheap hard body so that we can test Class 1 tires. It is eminently more capable than a Red Cat Ascent with little to no changes. And a hard body. You know, if we put a cab on it, he would, and maybe some Class 2s, a cab and some Class 2s, you know, just throw a Red Cat at it. So when I got the Ascent and began that process, there became a trend in the comments of, to put it as cast off, as off the shoulder as possible, your bias is showing. To which I would like to offer some analysis. Bias implies that a favoritism for one thing prevents me from being objective about another thing. I don't believe I've ever said that any specific vehicle would be a perfect replacement for the Red Cat Ascent. I believe that what I said was any vehicle that you can purchase with money is better than a Red Cat Ascent, because those Gen 9 axles are objectively bad. They are objectively bad. It is not my opinion that they are bad. They have terrible steer angle. They have Ackerman problems. They have an incorrect shock mounting position. They have massive pumpkins. They have inadequate caster. The entire vehicle is plagued by bad geometry. It goes on and on and on and on. This is not opinion. This is not bias. The front upper link is on the wrong side of the vehicle. Or alternately, the panhard is attached to the wrong side of the vehicle. There are a lot of it. It does not have enough gear reduction. I could go on and on, but this is not specifically an episode here where we're addressing the Ascent solitarily. It's that I've gotten to watch, unfortunately, fortunately and unfortunately, a little double edge. I love the comments. I love reading the comments. But what I've gotten to witness is the trend. The trend of, oh, you don't like that thing, so you're not going to give it a fair review. Accuser. Look back unto thine self. Ask yourself, if another channel gives a positive review to something that is objectively bad, what is their motivation compared to what would be my motivation for not liking something? If I don't like something, that's not bias. If I don't like the thing that you like, that does not mean that I'm biased. It means I don't like the thing that you like. And when I review a product, there are Proline tires fitted to this vehicle, and I've been accused of Proline bias since I started doing the channel. And I am not biased against Proline. I do not approve of their business practices, so I do not purchase their products. End of list. G8 is an inferior compound to J-Concepts Green, and Proline tires cost more than J-Concepts tires. So, barring an attempt to get something extremely scale, what is my motivation to buy a Proline tire over a J-Concepts tire, I ask you? Because when a J-Concepts tire the Trepador, the big Trepador, the Class 3 Trepador, which did not score particularly well. It's in the top 20, but it wasn't up there in the top echelons. Someone or more than someone in the comments said, "Well, yeah, I mean, you could tell you hate that tire. You could just tell." I shake my head in disbelief. Is it your assertion that my ability to handle a vehicle is so high that filming in real time with no cuts, no edits, no cherry picking, that I can drive in such a way as to make a tire perform below or above its actual capabilities? I can make a tire be better? I think if someone is making an effort to make a tire be worse, it's pretty glaringly obvious. At least it is to a modestly trained eye. If I see a video and someone is just mashing the throttle into the ground, ooh, a little brush there, I could see how an argument can be made that that tire is not getting a fair shake, or that platform is not getting a fair shake. If I take a vehicle that is purportedly a rock crawler and I use it for rock crawling things and it's not good at it, when what sits before you is the cheapest 10th scale that Element sells with a 1 pound body. Actually, it's over a pound now. It's got an interior. I'm going to brush it again, but we're through. One of the cheapest power systems, 1200 SE, $70. We have an economical vehicle before us, and I think he's a perfect example here of, guys, bias has to be manufactured. I don't have to manufacture anything. I'm not biased. If I tell you that something is worser than another thing is better, that is because in my experience, and ooh, watch out here, guys, it gets sticky. Experience, empirical evidence gained through practice. If something doesn't do the thing, it doesn't do the thing. The notion, nay, the accusation that I am manipulating outcomes for whatever reason, if we all tighten our tinfoil hats a little bit and we delve into this non-existent conspiracy, what's my end goal? If I think that the TRX4 Sport High Trail is not a rock crawler, which it's not, what's my reward when I come out and say this utterly non-controversial thing? What's my end goal? Who's paying me? Nobody. If you look at a TRX4 Sport High Trail, everything about it says not a rock crawler. It dwells somewhere in a space between rock crawlers and bashers. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. I have nothing. I have no problems with that. What I have a problem with, and boy, I hope I've at least started to establish it, is the idea that I have problems with things for the sake of having problems with them. I would love for all things to be good. More good things provides more options, more toy car options. That's hard to say. Say more toy car options 5 times fast. Is good for all of us. It fosters competition in the industry. It prompts manufacturers to be better, to stop outfitting every RTR with the garbagiest tires available, the cheapest radios. We're all going to 2-in-1s. Every RTR is going to have a 2-in-1 now. Great, awesome. Lock us in. Just costs you that much more to replace it. And yeah, the TRX4 is outdated. I had fought those people would make that accusation, oh, well, I'd rather get this because it's newer. Well, novelty doesn't make something better. The simple act of the state of being newer. It's just newer. But what Traxxas has done is ridden it. They've ridden it, what I'm hoping is, as long and as far as they can. The sum total of changes made to a TRX4 Sport, other than adding bigger tires and longer shocks, which was something that they already had, was to go to clipless body mounts. That's it. That's it. Same axle, same gears, same gearbox, same motor, same electronics, same everything. Look at that TQI radio. Just take a look at the OG 2.4 gigahertz TQI, which they've had for well over a decade. It has one knob on it to adjust steering trim. It is not uncommon to see RTRs coming with 5, 7, 11 channel radios now. It doesn't matter if you need it. It matters that other companies are doing it. And when I say other companies, I'm not talking about these folks. I'm not talking about Element. I will give props to Vanquish. The VT1's a pretty good radio. As far as stock radios go, that's a pretty good radio. It doesn't come close to that FlySky 11 channel that comes with new FMSs, but we digress a little. I have made this analogy. I've made this analogy on the live stream. I've made this analogy in person in my real life. And what it comes down to is this. It's the reason that I think most people end up here virtually in the canyon. And that is the concept of sample size. More accurately, what is your sample size? If you have driven one, count them on your singular finger, one rock crawler in your entire life, no matter what that is, it's the best one you've ever driven. By default, that's how it works. If you've driven 2, you will be able to determine a better one between A and B, and C and D and E and F. There are over 50 rock crawlers in the building. It's about 75 feet to my right. And I've driven every single one of them. And many of them I've built from scratch. My sample size is reasonably large. I have no opinions, positively or negatively, against any vehicle that I have never driven. If I've never held it in my hands, if I've never gone through it forensically, anything I would have would just be an opinion. They can release something and I can say, well, that's overpriced. The performance doesn't matter. Overpriced is an objective stat. Things should cost less than they do because we're all aware, all is generous. Many of us are aware of what it costs to produce, distribute, market, all of the things, the logistics. Many of us are aware of what logistics cost. The price of the product to the manufacturer. And the price we are asked to pay is often not in line with that cost. They charge us what they charge us because they can. As they have no monitoring and no oversight, they're not selling us electricity or milk or eggs, so it is not a regulated industry. I experienced this in cycling, where they charge whatever the market will be. I'm assuming golf clubs, fishing poles. I'm assuming any of the things we buy for leisure fall into the same category. They charge what the market will bear. And the problem is, in other markets, it's more simpler. And the more simpler is if Company X, let's say Callaway, they put out a driver and it's $500. They're going to have to sell enough of those to warrant continuing making it. What if the performance just isn't that much better than the one from the previous year? Then they're not going to sell enough of those. Will it make them change their pricing structure? Maybe, maybe not. Or maybe it's a Shimano fishing reel, or it's an ebonite bowling ball, or it is any number of things. But what I see happening in our little subset is people are willing to allow manufacturers, for whatever reason, to get away with something short of murder. Oh, this is now $500. Look at the average price of an RTR. I would say it's $399.99. If you want to attack someone or something, not for bias, but for real, actual reasons that exist, it's that RTRs are now $400 and they don't give you an option to buy a kit. Because bottom lines over crawling lines, and it's not just, I had first said that about Vanquish, and when I told people, don't buy a stance, buy a VRD and build it up, because in the end, you will save money. People got mad. They got as mad as when I said the Ascent is not good. Surprisingly, people didn't get mad when I said the Marksman isn't good. I guess they just knew. It's a Wendigo. It's a crawler Wendigo. It's a vehicle I would not be comfortable giving away. People were not upset about that. I guess they were willing to buy in on that one. Bias. Oh, that tire didn't do as good as I would have liked it to because you're biased. And I manipulated the results for reasons. What those individuals might not recognize. So they can't acknowledge it because they don't understand that it's happening. They don't, God bless them, they don't know what they're doing. What they are doing is tacitly, perhaps not directly, obliquely. They are, if not attacking outright, they are questioning my integrity. And you know what? I am a person, and as such, I don't like that. I don't like unwarranted assaults on my integrity. Because, again, not to be that guy, and I speak not collectively to a group, but I speak to individuals. And if any of those individuals are within earshot of this video, I would hope that you're self-aware enough to know to whom I'm speaking. And in the opposite of the people being arrested for doing dumb things when they're famous and say, do you know who I am? I'm a guy that makes YouTube videos, and all you get to see are hands, sometimes an arm. I'm not a personality, and I'm not here to be a personality. I'm here to provide insight, and saying technical expertise feels icky to me, but some level of expertise, some knowledge in fabrication. I'm here to share with you the things that I enjoy. And in the opposite spectrum of, do you know who I am? let me ask, to those who I hope are self-aware, who do you think you are? What is it that gives you, I gesture towards the camera, the ability to make that judgment? Be more introspective. Ask yourself, why am I upset that he doesn't like something that I like? We don't all have to like the same things. That's called tastes. I don't like beets. You're not going to cajole me into liking beets. I don't like them. They taste like blood and dirt. Maybe there's something in my DNA that makes them taste like blood and dirt. I'm just thankful cilantro doesn't taste like soap, because they like to sneak it into stuff all the time. I don't like salmiak. It's not my fault. I don't like black licorice. You're not improving it by putting salt in it. That's not a bias. Because I like milk chocolate slightly less than dark chocolate, and I like dark chocolate a whole lot more than I like salted black licorice, that doesn't mean I'm biased against black licorice. It's called taste. I just don't like it. The customer is always right in matters of taste. The producer, the content creator, is always right in matters of taste. If I don't like the way something looks, I don't like it. But I'm not judging things like tires and vehicles and what have you based on how they look, unless that's part of it. I'm basing it empirically. I'm testing them. I use testing, and not just testing, repeatable testing. If you buy a Red Cat Ascent or a Red Cat Ascent Fusion and you like it, good. I can't take that away from you. I cannot remove your enjoyment. It's not within my power. I'm just words, and sometimes still images. Sometimes they move, like this one will move. I am sometimes moving images that reside only in the ether. I don't get it. I genuinely don't get it. That my first instinct, not as a content creator, not as an enthusiast of toy cars, but just as a person, it is not in my first, second, third, fourth, or fifth instinct to assault someone, to attack someone, on the basis of their integrity, because they don't like something that I do, or vice versa. If you think Proline tires are the best tires in the world, great. I will say, sample size. You've never driven a Panther Cougar before, because if you'd ever driven a Panther Cougar, you'd be like, oh my God. And it wouldn't be a Proline thing. It would be an industry thing. What are they doing? What have they done to us that this is the state of tires today, when 17 years ago the tires were better? There's no reason for regression. None. And yet, here we are, regressing. How appropriate. The only thing that could make this more appropriate would that spin it and don't knock it. Ah. The only thing that could have been made this more appropriate is that the calendar had been, that this was taking place in it would be 2027, 2028, in which Wheelin Wednesday 69 would have taken place on April 20th. Before 2069, bro. Internet. But we'll have to settle. We'll have to settle. I'm not mad about the OG flat irons. I think the OG flat irons, if we can get up this, there we are a good pick for Lord Pentabee, first of his name. They're not overwhelmingly capable. They're not in league with megalithics. They also, counter to the megalithic, these look a lot better than the megalithics. I mean, look at that. Those, and here's a bias. Those Hobby Park orange and black wheels look a lot better than the all orange wheels. I think they're a lot closer to the sundown decals. This tire looks a lot more fitting on this vehicle than the megalithic did. And these are sacrifices for vanity. He's also a test rig. He's designed and built to test Class 1 tires, and he still needs a little more chonk on him. Ooh, my Amazon should be here soon. I can put some. We'll get next time. Next time he gets out to test, he'll have some. He'll have a little bit more brass on him. I'd like to get him to around 7 pounds. I'd also like discourse. Y'all, and I speak again, not to the group, not to the whole, but to specific individuals. You know how discourse works, right? Do you know the difference between a closed statement and something that prompts dialogue? Y'all know how that works? Point, counterpoint, give and take. But no, most of the statements about things that I don't like that other people like are presented in the absolute. I am biased or an idiot because I don't agree with their opinions. I'm not offering opinions. Sometimes, I mean, yeah, I am. Sometimes, sure. In my opinion, those tires and those wheels look better. In my not opinion, the megalithic is more capable than the non-XL flat iron. It's not an arguable point because it's not an opinion. It's an empirically gathered fact. There's more grip in the other tire, the tire that's not here. Doesn't matter. I don't need more grip. I need not the gentleman himself, but I need a baseline tire. I need a tire to which other tires shall be compared empirically. Part of me is thankful that Wednesdays have now gotten, single cam, man. I can't be bothered. I can't be bothered to wield 2 cameras around. I want to sit on my bucket chair and I want to rant at the camera, into the camera. He's in the camera, I'm behind the camera. Just want everybody to get along. No, I don't. I don't mind if everybody doesn't get along. Differing opinions are the spark of discourse. But let us participate in that discourse. If you think that I'm being unfair to something, tell me why. What did I do to make you think that? I still don't like Proline's business practices. Don't have a problem with their tires. Their tires perform pretty much well enough. Not enough for me to give up my Proline ban and buy them. But that's not bias. That's just principles. Ooh, are we allowed to be principled anymore? I don't even know. Not a lot of driving, a whole lot of talking. But I thank you for watching anyway.